Aloha everyone, my name is Samuel Johnson and Merry Christmas to you. And what better way to ring in the festive holiday season than by talking about a man who swings around New York City in red and blue underwear and takes the law into his own hands like a common vigilante. Okay, yeah, before we actually get to talking about this vlog, I suppose introductions are in order for any who are new here. If you don't know who I am a very low-grade YouTuber who, for the last few years, has every Friday done a series of vlogs that usually center around a show or franchise that I grew up with. And how those vlogs usually work is that every Friday I sit down, watch an episode or entry in that show or franchise, and then when I'm done, I sit down in my chair and record my thoughts and post them on the interwebs. They're long, rambly, have almost zero prep time, no scripts, I stumble and stutter all over the place, and then by the end, when it's put up on the air, I look at that and think, yep, that sucks. But I do them anyway because I just like talking about these things, and I hope on this that there's a slim chance that someone out there enjoys hearing my inane ramblings, or at least my inane ramblings will put someone to sleep. But bottom line, I do them because I love them, and yeah, I think they're just fun. For all of the series that I've looked at, they've kind of ranged from different subjects and different franchises. Like when I first started the vlogs, the first series that I looked at was the classic Ben 10 series, and after that I moved on to Alien Force. And after that, though, instead of moving on to the next Ben 10 series, I kind of jumped around to different franchises. Like, for example, I looked at Danny Phantom, I looked at Code Lyoko for a couple years. Just recently, I did another Ben 10 vlog where I talked about the franchise's various televised crossovers. But the one vlog series that is technically still ongoing, and I've had a multitude of sub-vlog series for, was a vlog series for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And essentially those vlogs were me just watching an entry into the film series and recording my thoughts, and those vlogs were exceedingly long. Of course, I also did sub-series for them, like I have a sub-series for those vlogs that talks about the Disney Plus show What If, and I think a couple months ago, I started a sublog for the Sony universe of Marvel characters, or as they call it, the Spider-Man superhero universe, which at this point only has 2 entries, since the only entries into that film series are the Venom movies. But speaking of Spider-Man, that actually brings us to today's vlog. You see, while I was in the middle of talking about Code Lyoko, I was kind of wondering what my next vlog series would be. And, of course, the first thing that I decided to do was, like I said, looking at the various Ben 10 crossovers, but after that, I wanted to look at something a little bit more mainstream, kind of in the same vein as the MCU, but a little out of the public view. But at the same time, I wanted to still be something that I myself grew up with, something that I enjoyed and would genuinely love talking about. Which brings me to the subject of today's vlog. Spider-Man is one of my favorite superheroes of all time. When I was a kid, my introduction to Spider-Man was the Sam Raimi films, and from the instant I saw the first film, I fell in love with the character, and it helps that I was originally skeptical of Spider-Man when I first saw images of him, because when I looked at him, he did not fit who I thought would be like the typical superhero. Like, he wasn't big and muscular, he couldn't fly, he didn't have a cape, and he was called Spider-Man, and I hate spiders, so I genuinely thought that he was not someone I would be interested in. Then I sat down and watched his movie, and I was hooked ever since. Spider-Man has since from then on become one of my favorite superheroes. I own a few comics about him, I own all of the movies, and I've seen several of his shows, and for most of them I've had a fun time, with my favorite show being the Spectacular Spider-Man series, if just for the arc they did with Venom in that show. However, out of all the Spider-Man series released, there is one that kind of flies under the radar. One that not a lot of people kind of talk about, and I think it's typically because it was kind of short-lived. And that series is Spider-Man, the new animated series. I say new because that is technically what it's called, but when it was put on the air, it was just simply called, well, Spider-Man. It was aired on MTV in 2003, and it was a CGI animated series starring Neil Patrick Harris in the role of Peter Parker. The continuity of the show was kind of sort of based on the Sam Raimi trilogy. I say kind of sort of because the only continuity they actually used was from the first film, which made sense because the second and third film hadn't been released yet. But with the second film, the show was essentially wiped from canon, and unfortunately, the show only was on for one season. Like, it had its fans, it has people who are aware of it, and there are people who to this day would love to see the show be revived, but but like I said, it only lasted one season before MTV pulled the plug on it. And it wasn't because it was getting bad ratings, but at the same time it wasn't getting the ratings that they wanted. So after one season it was canceled, and not a lot of people, and it wasn't really talked about. However, when I was a kid, I happened to stumble across the show, honestly, by a complete accident. How I first discovered it was I was in the guest room. I was just kind of in the guest room, like searching through the channels, because back in those days my room didn't have cable, and I wanted to watch something on like Cartoon Network, and it was a marathon. I stayed up late, and as I was surfing through the channels, I wound up accidentally discovering this show and watched the tail end of one episode and the entirety of another. I thought this looked cool because it was Spider-Man, and I loved Spider-Man, but after that initial viewing, I never saw it again because at the time I didn't know it was aired on MTV, and I didn't know how to find the channel again. And so for a while I just kind of forgot about it. That is till one day when me and my mother went to go visit my aunt, and among her DVDs I found one for Spider-Man the new animated series. And I thought, I want to watch, holy crap, I can watch more of it. And and it was at the time it only had like 3 episodes on it. So that was as much as I could see, but at that point I was hooked. I wanted to see more, and I had seen other DVDs for the series around every now and then. So essentially, when I was a kid, I began actively collecting them and wanting to see more. And by today, I technically own the entire series in one way or another. The majority of them I own on DVD, though unfortunately, with the way I collected them, there was only one episode that was not released, so I wound up buying that on iTunes. But if you're but bottom line, I do have the entire series one form or another, and so going back to what I said before, I decided that after I was finished with my previous vlog with all the Ben 10 crossovers, I would dedicate some time to this show. Because honestly, I think it deserves more attention, and even if it doesn't get revived, which honestly I don't think it does, because like I said, it took continuity from the first Sam Raimi film, and Spider-Man 2 essentially contradicts it essentially just says this never happened. But my point is this: I do think it deserves more attention, and I do want more people to know about it. And coincidentally, the latest Spider-Man film has come out, that's getting a lot of attention. So why not look at it now? Rather fortuitous, actually. As such, for today and the next several weeks, every Friday, I am going to give this show the vlog treatment. As with my previous vlogs, I'm just going to sit down, watch an episode a night, and then record my thoughts in a video. The videos might be a little lengthy, but I'll try not to go too far over like with other vlogs. But again, keep in mind, these are exceedingly unprofessional, and I may end up rambling on and on. Plus, I do talk about the entire plot for each episode, so fair warning if you'd like to go in blind. So sorry about that. Also, while I'm talking about that, when I look at each episode of the series, I'm going to be looking at it in the intended air order. Apparently, when the show was being aired on TV, due to production issues, all the episodes actually, were released out of their scripted order. And as a result, certain plot points and characters that appear in other episodes end up contradicting stuff with later episodes. Like, in one episode, a character could get killed off, or be put in a position where he wouldn't be around anymore, and then in a later episode he'd be there like nothing happened, or certain events would happen in one episode that would contradict another, etc., etc. But then again, there was an intended continuity for the show. It's just because of production issues they were aired out of order. So for these vlogs, I'm going to be looking at them in the DVD order, the complete series DVD order, because apparently, from what I can gather, that was the intended script order, and as a result, a lot more things line up better. So yeah, if you were hoping that I would look at this in the original air order, sorry, but I'd rather that things make more sense in context. So, yeah. So, yeah. I think that's really all I have to say. If you're interested in this vlogs, then I hope you stick around. But if you aren't, then well, I'm sorry. But yeah, that's about it. Stay tuned for later today as I post the next video. And also, I should probably give a fair warning. Next week, I'm not going to be looking at episode 2 because, well, every once in a while, I am going to be pausing these vlogs to go back to the MCU perspectives. And next week, I'm doing a vlog on Spider-Man No Way Home. So I guess it's not really too far out of the realm since it's still Spider-Man related. But I'm giving a fair warning in case you're not interested. But again, for those of you who are willing to stay, then I hope you enjoy us as we take a look back at the redheaded stepchild of the Spider-Man animated series legacy with the MTV Spider-Man retrospectives.